Hi everyone. So this week you've got two jobs that I need you to look at doing. The first job is to make sure you finish your piece of propaganda. So I know that some of you will have been working on this at home. If you have and you've come to the end of it, I've got something that you can work on today. So when I finish talking about the piece of propaganda, carry on watching the video. If you haven't finished the piece of propaganda, that's the first thing I need you to do. I also need to make sure that you've presented your plan and you've also presented the thumbnails along with the final outcome of the piece of propaganda, and that really needs to be finished by the end of this week. So that means you have today's lesson and you've also got Friday's lesson. If you have finished your piece of propaganda, we're now going to move on to looking at currency. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is to create 4 pieces of currency. You're going to create 4 different denominations of currency, and denomination just means whether it is a £5, £10, £20, £30, or whatever type of note, dollars, euro, whatever that might be. So every country needs their own currency. It's an essential part of the economy. Currently, most countries rely on a paper or plastic banknotes. To ensure that it's hard to forge or counterfeit money, they include many security features. This includes holograms, transparent elements, and extremely detailed patterns. So here we can probably see the most widely used notes on the planet. We've got US dollar, British pound, and the euro, although there is other notes. They all seem to follow a similar kind of theme though. They generally will have an iconic image, whether it's a person. So on the US note, it has a president. On the British note, it has the Queen. And on the European notes, it'll have an iconic building. Obviously, they're not going to keep reissuing the money, and obviously there's a lot of countries in the EU, so they use iconic buildings that are kind of part of the heritage of the countries, the member states. They also tell you who issues them. So you can see here, this says the Bank of England. This one says the United States of America it's been issued by. It's a Federal Reserve note. Here it'll also say the European Bank. It also includes many symbols that relate to that country. So in America, we've got eagles. If you think back to when we looked at the President of the United States, we talked about how the eagle was the symbol of the United States. In the British one, we've got an image of Britannia, okay, here. And in the European notes, we've got the European flag with the stars in a circle. You'll notice here on the right-hand side in the European notes that each note has its own colour. And again, we know the £10 note, they've also got their own colour. However, not all notes are like that. US notes generally will stick to this kind of green and yellowy colour. There is colour in other notes at higher denominations, but generally they are green and kind of this yellowy colour. The back of the note is also really different. In the US note, it has a building generally on the back of it. The British note will often have another iconic person, whether it's a literary character, whether it's a scientist, and also include symbols such as flowers, animals that are found in British colonies, British Isles, anything like that. So let's have a look a bit more in detail. So we're going to focus on the British note, and you can see how many different elements, and this isn't all of the elements, these are probably the most iconic elements. So on a banknote, and a British banknote, we have an image of the Queen. The Queen is the head of state, and she is the authority that the Bank of England rely on. Okay, so she's on every single note, whether it's a 5, 10, 20, £50 note, she's on all of them. So for you, that could be your leader. They also have symbols of the authority of the Queen. Okay, so we've got the crown on one of the holograms, and we also have other elements where we've got holograms here, where we've got Big Ben, okay, in a hologram. So we have iconic buildings, and then as I said before, we've got other iconic symbols that are talking about Britain's kind of place in history with Britannia, okay, the Britain's dominion over the seas, this historical kind of reference. It always includes the value, so I need to know instantly what the value of the note is. So this is a £5 note. It says 5, it says 5, it says 5, it says 5, it says £5. Okay, it says £5 there. So it says the number 5 and pounds and the pound symbol many times. So there's no mistaking. The colour also makes this really recognisable, and also the size of the note. A £5 note is smaller than a £10, smaller than a £20 note. It also will have the signature of whoever issues the bank. So whoever the head of the Bank of England is at the time will also have their signature on there, which is kind of found here. If you look in the background, you see all these really intricate patterns. Here's a bit of a close-up of them, and you can see this one is kind of the number 5 repeated, but then there's also kind of a wavy line, okay, that's repeated, and there is tons and tons of different patterns in the background. So if you have a note in your pocket, it might be worth taking it out and having a look at it. You'll also find there's often images of iconic buildings, okay, and you can see here we've got the Houses of Parliament. We also need to make sure we have the name of the bank. Okay, so who's issuing the banks? We've got the Bank of England, and we've also got the Bank of England here. And if you think back to when we talked about typography, we talked about how a serif, the little bits on there, make it more authoritative. And obviously this is a bank, so we need to trust the bank. That brings us on to the next one. You'll also notice on every single British note, it has this little saying here that says, "I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of," and then it relates the number. And that is basically to say that this note has a gold value. We have a gold reserve in the United Kingdom, and this note has got a gold value. So in theory, if you went to the Bank of England, you could hand the note in and they would have to give you the value of gold that goes alongside that. So that is what that sum means, and that's what gives it its authority, because without that gold reserve in the Bank of England, it's basically just a piece of paper. It will also include serial numbers, and again, you'll notice there's one here, and there's also another serial number. I've lost it now, but there is another one on the front of it somewhere. You'll also see that it uses typography. Again, really intricate typography. So it says £10 note, £10 note. So it's got £10, and then it has £10 in letters, £10 in numbers. It also has really intricate overlaid patterns here. So we've got more symbols of the Queen's authority. It's obviously the Bank of England, but it's a note that's valid in anywhere in the United Kingdom. So we have the 3 Lions of England, we've got the Dragon of Wales, we've got the Harp of Ireland, and then under there you'll have the Lion of Scotland. So there's tons and tons of symbols, patterns, security features on every single note. They are so minute and so overlapped, you often won't notice them. So it's really important that you spend a bit of time looking through this and think about the type of symbols that will relate to your world. Obviously, your world is different. If it's a communist world, it's going to be looking at hammers and sickles, things to do with like the economy. If it's a royal one, it's going to have slightly different symbols. If it's an oligarchy, you might have different symbols for each kind of leader. So you need to decide what the symbols you will include on your banknote. What I thought I'd do here is try and find some exciting examples. So I thought these were a little bit different, a bit more abstract on this one here, this 100 one, this krona. I really liked how this one here is done in portrait rather than in landscape. And again, you can see how the size changes. And again, it's something that's not going to need updating because there is no leader on this. You don't have to include the leader. I really like this one here, which included animals. I'm not quite sure where the country is, but I'm assuming it's somewhere in Africa, maybe, because we've got zebras and we've got lions. So again, there's that. And then we've got this example here, which has got primary images of photographs. And again, it's kind of looking at science, nature, politics, and the actual places of state. So I think these are kind of a concept idea for a new American banknote. And then this last example, very monochromatic really. There's very little colour, but it works really, really well. And the kind of security features are really intricate patterns. So it's really up to you how you approach this. So what you need to do today, you need to begin by following the creative process. So the first thing I want you to do is collect a series of secondary images that could be used as symbols on your note. So what kind of the animals of your world, what kind of flowers, what kind of patterns? Is there any buildings you think, well, actually, I want this style of building in my world? Is there a castle you want? Is it quite futuristic? Is it set in the past? What kind of building do you want? Also collect patterns. What kind of patterns would you want to include? Maybe you could even draw some intricate patterns. You could find your intricate patterns off the internet. Collect as many symbols as you can think of and present them on a slide on your graphics folder. You may also need to collect a new primary image of your leader. You may also want to get primary images of other people that might exist. You might want to do fictional historical figures. So, you know, in the fact that the example we looked before had Winston Churchill on, have you got another, a politician that you want to include, or a scientist or someone you could actually use a fictional, you know, character that you could use. When you completed the kind of the mood board, okay, where you've collected all these symbols on a slide on your Google PowerPoint, I'd like you to do a series of 6 different composition ideas, and that includes the front and the back. They can be done digitally or they can be drawn on paper. But remember to think about presentation. I do want these presented on your Google Graphics folder. So what I've done is I've done a mock-up here, and this is just one mock-up. It's not for any specific banknote, so this design could be used for a 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, whatever I decide to use. You can see I've kind of used circles to represent different things. I've put elements, so I want to put pattern here. I'm going to put the value in there, and it's just a really basic look at the composition. You can put a little bit more detail if you want to, but you don't have to. If you feel that your society wouldn't use paper notes, you could design something more alternative, whether that's card system. Maybe people have individual cards, credit cards. Maybe it's set in the past, so they have coins, maybe gold, whatever they use. Maybe they have some kind of tattoo. Okay, so there may be different tattoos, and maybe depending on what job you have a tattoo, which, so you could design something like that. It might be you have an app that people use. It's completely up to you. I'm saying a currency, but how that currency can look is completely in your ballpark. Again, how you want to make this is completely up to you. You may want to use Adobe Photoshop, and you might want to look at someone like Cristiana Cucchiaro to look at how she kind of collages and layers images. If you think back to that session we did on Adobe Photoshop a few weeks ago, some of the skills there will be really useful. You may decide that you actually want to do this on Adobe Illustrator. That's absolutely fine. You might want to go more on an illustrative path. You might want to do some hand-drawn elements, scan them in or photograph them in and build them up on Photoshop and use a mixture of Photoshop and Illustrator. You may want to do it all on Procreate. I don't mind how you make this piece of currency, but it's really important that you do the very best job you can do. So today you're going to start the currency and you'll continue with it in the next lesson. If you're not ready for the currency, then finish your piece of propaganda first. We will have a little bit of time after half term to finish off this project, which will include the currency and the stamp, which we will do after half term before we move on to our next project. Thank you guys, and I'll see you soon.